This week's flavor of the week is called Winter Sunshine, and I named it this because we're using pine needles. And I'm using pine needles to mimic the flavor of gin. So if you don't want to use pine needles, you could also use juniper berries, but I didn't have those and I just didn't feel like ordering them because I just didn't feel like it. We're also using pomegranate and orange juice. Let's talk about pine needles, guys. Have you ever had pine needle tea? It is so good for you. I just did a little bit of research. Probably going to start drinking it every day now. I did make pine needle kombucha a couple years ago during the first lockdown, the pandemic. We had a pine tree out front that fell, so I had all these pine needles. I said, what do you do when life gives you pine needles? You make pine needle kombucha, because you always make kombucha. It's the answer to everything. You're welcome. And we're using the white pine needles. So I'll give you some more pictures. We just went out, I took my youngest daughter, we just went out to the park and found a tree and went over and clipped off some branches. And they're so pretty, aren't they? To make this healthy, delicious drink, I'm using a base of black tea and just a handful of the pine needles. They don't really have that strong of a flavor, so you can use a lot of them. And what I did is I picked off the very top of the pine needle where it grows out from the tree because I read that that can be bitter. Make sure you rinse them off though well because, you know, bugs and stuff. Then I used a tablespoon of fresh OJ because I had fresh oranges on hand. You could also use boxed OJ if you want. And about a tablespoon of pomegranates. I decided to crush up the pomegranates to make sure I got all the juices out and then push them into the bottle. Pine needles have high levels of vitamin A, which is good for eyesight, improves your hair, and regenerates skin. It also improves red blood cell production. Pine needles can be used as an expectorant for coughs to relieve congestion. It has 5 times the amount of vitamin C in a serving of lemon. It's used for mental clearness. And pine needles contain antioxidants, which reduce free radicals that are harmful to the human body. It's also used for anti-aging because of the flavonoids. These have been fermenting for about a month. Was not my intention. I had not planned on letting them sit that long, but things with the holidays and a few people got sick. But I just think it's so interesting, the difference in the color of the kombucha. And do you know why the fruit changes color like that? It's because of the flavonoids. So flavonoids are what give fruits its color. Flavonoids are bound to at least one or more sugar molecules. And since kombucha consumes sugar, it's almost like it pulls the flavonoids out through the sugar. And that's why it changes. And I just thought that was so cool. What do you guys think? Is that neat? Have you ever heard about that? To garnish this, I didn't get too crazy. I just used a little pine needle just for looks and some pomegranates. You could also use an orange slice or a lemon slice. That would be a nice addition. But I tried to keep it simple with this. Don't forget to pop that like button, and I'll see you in the next video.